We go live to our reporters across key parts of Accra as hours of heavy downpour trigger congestion and flooding in parts of the capital. Also ahead, the opposition New Patriotic Party has suffered a setback in its attempts to seek the removal of a Denta Circuit Court judge after the Chief Justice deferred the formal submission of its petition to Monday. Meanwhile, a Ghanaian citizen has sued the Attorney General, challenging the constitutionality of bail conditions imposed by police and other security agencies during investigations. Ahead in business tonight, ECOWAS and the United Nations Development Programme expressed deep satisfaction with what they say is the unprecedented achievements of the African Continental Free Trade Area within the short period since its inception. Bring the details of these stories and much more news here on News Tonight. Do stay. Let's get into the details here on News Tonight on GH1 TV. Our bulletin streams live all across the world on Facebook and on X at GH1 TV. 3 people, including a 4-month-old baby, have died in a tragic accident at Gumwa Akiti Junction on the Winneba-Kaswa Highway in the central region. The accident involved a private car, a fuel tanker, and a tipper truck. According to eyewitnesses, the private car was traveling from Winneba across towards Kaswa when the driver reportedly lost control while attempting to avoid a pickup vehicle said to have been overtaken wrongly. The vehicle subsequently crashed head-on into an oncoming fuel tanker. The tanker driver reportedly applied emergency brakes in an attempt to avoid the collision. But a tipper truck traveling behind the tanker crashed into it from the rear. The driver of the private car and a female passenger died instantly at the scene. A 4-month-old baby who sustained critical injuries was rushed to St. Gregory Hospital, but was later pronounced dead. Meanwhile, the driver of the pickup vehicle alleged to have caused the crash reportedly fled the scene immediately after the incident. Police officers swiftly moved to the area to manage traffic and begin investigations into the circumstances surrounding the accident. In some other stories this evening, Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman has directed the strict maintenance of newly acquired Metro Mass Transit at MMT buses to ensure their longevity and efficient service delivery across the country. She gave the directive while inaugurating 100 new buses, which are expected to expand public transport services and ease commuter pressure, particularly during peak hours in urban centres. The acquisition forms part of the government's pledge made in January 2026, following a period of severe shortage of commercial vehicles that affected transportation across major cities.
Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman has commissioned 100 newly acquired 39-seater buses for the Metro Mass Transit Limited as part of government efforts to improve public transportation and enhance mobility across the country. The buses, which forms part of a 300 bus acquisition initiative, are expected to boost operational capacity of the Metro Mass Transit and provide safer, more reliable and affordable transportation for commuters. Speaking at the event, Professor Opoku-Agyeman noted that the introduction of the buses would help reduce dependence on unsafe and costly transport options while easing pressure on commuters.
When our transport system is efficient, people, goods and services move as they should. That is why enhancing public transport is central to our economy. Our aim is to decrease dependence on unreliable, unsafe, and overly expensive transport options. These buses will increase carrying capacity, extend service to more communities, reduce pressure on commuters, and provide them with a more dignified experience.
While urging management and staff of the Metro Mass Transit to ensure proper maintenance of the buses, the Vice President also called for increased local participation in future transport procurement, expressing hope that Ghanaian engineers, technicians, and manufacturers would eventually contribute to producing parts used in assembling buses locally.
We expect future procurements to increase local content and create more opportunities for Ghanaian technicians and engineers, and for local manufacturing and assembly. My hope is that as we go forward, at least in Ghana, we'll produce one or two of the parts that come together to form the bus.
According to Transport Minister Joseph Bukari-Nikbe, the commissioning of these new buses forms part of government's efforts to improve passenger comforts and safety.
Any economy that will function and function well will have to have a transport system that is very robust to be able to deliver services and also be able to run day and night to ensure that whatever that people engage in, they are able to get to their destination safely. Commissioning 100 buses is not a small thing to do. It is huge because this will connect us to our workplaces, this will connect us to our markets, this will connect us to our schools, and this will get us to wherever we want to go in a safe manner.
Managing Director for Metro Mass Transit Limited also assured government of the company's resolve to ensure a proper maintenance culture for these new buses.
Today marks a significant moment in the history of Metro Mass Transit Limited. A renewed commitment designed to modernize the public transport system, aim at promoting 24-hour transport services, providing free transport for older people, and reflecting the government's unflinching support for private sector-led vehicle acquisition and financing.
The commissioning of these new 100 buses forms part of government efforts to improve the fleet of vehicles by the Metro Mass Transit and also reduce challenges with passenger transport. For GH1 News, Obed Kingaglo, Metro Mass Transit Limited, Accra.
Well, let's stay on this issue, and joining us for a conversation via Zoom is the Public Relations Officer for the GPRTU, Samuel Amwa. Good evening to you, and thank you for joining us here on News Tonight. First of all, what's your assessment of the potential impact of these newly launched Metro Mass Transit buses on commercial transport operators under the GPRTU?
All right, so thank you very much for having me. Let me say good evening to you and your listeners. Yes, we are aware of these buses. When the government, brought these buses and gave the Metro bus this 100 buses, we are aware of it. Earlier this year, I remember we had a meeting with the Vice President together with the Transport Ministries, and the promise was given based on, during the peak hours, how passengers, do get stranded and all that. So the promise was that, they will bring in some buses, some part will be given to the Metro Mass, then the GPRTU or the private sector will also get their portion. So, yes, these ones that they have given to the Metro Mass, the private sector, that is the GPRTU, we're also expecting that the government will also remember their promise, because we are also serving, the nation. We have been, working faithfully serving the nation, and that we also need, some of these buses. So giving these buses or launching this, buses and for the Metro Mass to run, I think it's in a good direction. we are also waiting to get ours.
Right. Now, you say you are waiting to receive your set of buses, and you engaged with the Vice President as well as the other stakeholders in the transport sector. So what assurance has been provided as per when you are set to receive that? GPRTU is set to receive the set of buses for you?
Okay, actually, a specific period has not been given. We still hold on to their promise. As I stated earlier, they have not given a specific time that maybe today or tomorrow or this month or next month. But we are still waiting. We also remember, when we had a one-on-one meeting with the president, he also mentioned saying, we are still on standby, waiting for when these buses will be given. But if you are waiting and it's not coming, we will still approach them because it's a promise that they gave. And we also, qualify to get some of these buses to run. Yeah.
Right. So you're on standby waiting for, as you put it, the promise to be fulfilled towards the GPRTU. Now, you commend this move of the 100 buses specifically for Metro Mass. But what sorts of implications do you foresee it having on the competition or working relationship between Metro Mass Transit and the GPRTU?
You see, all that we need is, we are praying that the Metro Mass can run these buses and run them well. Because, this has been something that used to happen. We remember some years back during OSA time, buses were given to OSA. They gave them enough buses to run. What happened? Before we realized it collapsed. They also gave some to Ayalolo. When you go to their bus terminals, their workshops, you see a lot of buses parked there. Likewise, the Metro Mass. Sometimes some of the challenges we do see from their side is that anytime a bus get a small problem, instead of them repair them and bring it back on road, they will not do that. Sometimes you see some bus being impounded for a long time. Sometimes the fault will be some little thing, maybe the starter, maybe alternator. For them to repair it, they will not do that. So as for GPRT, we are not afraid of competition, but all that we need is we are all in to serve the nation, making sure that passengers will get access to buses at the exact time that they need. They will get to their destinations at the time they want to get to. But, for them to get all these new buses and within a short period of time, you see them, being parked like they used to do. For that one, it will be bad at their side. But as for them coming to, also coming to operate, we are not afraid of that competition. But all that we need is the government should also remember us because, we are applying all these, bad routes that, Metro Masses and other buses cannot go. We are trotters and, the taxis, they do go there. It means that we are doing a massive job or a massive work to support the nation. So they should still remember their promise so that they also give us some new buses to run so that, some buses that we think or some commercial, transport buses that we think are not that road, we can take them off the road. Then we serve the passengers faithfully.
Very well. Samuel Amwa, thank you for your time this evening. That's the PRO for the GPRTU joining us on that issue. Let's turn to some other top stories this evening. A few hours of heavy rainfall have once again brought traffic to a standstill at Mallam Junction. Floodwaters have accumulated along sections of the main Accra-Kaswa Highway, rendering parts of the road impassable and causing severe delays for commuters. Many stranded passengers are being forced to wade through the flooded sections as gridlock worsens, leaving no transport options for motorists and commuters along the busy stretch. Let's stay on this rather concerning development and engage with our central regional correspondent, Ejekum Banahene, for more on this development. Ejekum, can you further highlight and paint a picture of what the situation is currently at the Mallam Junction following this heavy rainfall?
Right. Natalie, have a good evening. In fact, hours of relentless rainfall have left Malam Junction and surrounding communities in chaos, with flood waters destroying properties worth thousands of cities and forcing residents to abandon their homes. Indeed, the downpour, which began hours ago, overwhelmed drainage systems in the area. Streets turned into waters and rivers. Shops were submerged, and vehicles were left stranded in the wake of high water. Residents were evacuated. The level of flooding became so severe that residents had to be carried out of their homes by neighbors and some local youth volunteers. So, Natalie, in fact, families were seen wading through murky waters with mattresses, children and salvage belongings balanced on their heads. Taxi drivers have stopped operating in and around Malam Junction due to the flooded road and poor visibility, worsening the plight of commuters, and passengers were left stranded at the bus stops, forced to wait for, hours or pay inflated fares for detours. So, Natalie, indeed, it was a disaster this very afternoon where you can see that cars cannot move, because if you make any attempt to move, it's either you are going to wreck your car or spoil your engine. So, in fact, all cars were in standstill without moving, and passengers were very frustrated. Even as it stands now, people are still there waiting for cars, but these cars are not ready to come. And if you try to order a boat, whenever he hears that you are going to Kaswa, he will not even come, or he will cancel the order. So this is the current situation that the people of Malam Junction are going through right now, Natalie.
All right, Ejekuma, clearly a very gory picture painted there as per the situation. Now, certainly we are likely to see more rains in the days ahead. From your engagement with some of these residents and those in the community, how long of an impact is this likely to have within the community? I'm referring to students going to school, for instance. Some homes, have they been left completely stranded, even for days on end? What do you foresee from your engagements with the residents is likely to happen in the days ahead?
Definitely, I spoke to a few residents living in that vicinity, and indeed, some of them are even crying because they have, left their homes because their homes, properties are damaged. People who do, roadside vending said that they cannot take their kids to school again because, indeed, all what they have has, destroyed, because that's what they do to earn meat or to take care of their kids. Okay, so currently the rain has really affected the people living in the area. Even the Chinese companies within that vicinity, some of their appliances have even spoiled. The mattress, factory, others are. Everything is been destroyed from the area. So currently, the people of Malam, some of them are saying that they cannot take care of their kids because everything has been destroyed, and it has really affected their livelihood. And even as it stands now, home appliances, rooms where people live, in fact, bedrooms have also been flooded. So they have come out from their room, finding it very difficult to sleep this very night. So, Natalie, it is a very big disaster in the area currently.
A disaster indeed. I'd like to thank you, Ejekum Banahene, our Central Regional Correspondent, for bringing us up to speed with the situation following the heavy rainfall that's specifically in Malam Junction. And you saw on your screens the devastation really within the community there, as well as what Ejekum ran us through. Clearly, cars, as you see, not even being able to drive really on the streets as a result of the flooding, and many people within the community being left displaced. Ejekum highlighted that from his engagements with some of the residents, it appears that some parents are not even able to take their children to school in the days ahead as a result of this situation. Some of them being left stranded in terms of not even being able to access their homes as a result of the flooding. And This continues to raise serious concern about the impact of heavy rainfall within certain parts of the country, in certain parts of the capital. The traffic congestion on major roads, leaving roads unmotorable, and motorists also battling poor visibility in these flooded areas. We also did hear Ejikum saying that some commercial vehicles are not even interested in plying the streets there as a result of the flooding. Now, let's stay on this issue and engage with the Director Inspectorate for NADMO, Amo Yate, joins us via phone now for more on this development. Good evening to you, and thank you so much for joining us here on News Tonight. Now, a very concerning and devastating situation. What is NADMO's current assessment of the flooding and estates as it stands across Accra and within the communities that are most badly affected?
Good evening to your viewers, and then good evening to all the NADMO who are still on the field assessing the situation. There's the usual flash floods that we've been experiencing in Accra, which is due to high intensity rainfall and then low infiltration because we put garbage in our drains, we block our drains, and then put containers on our drains. So we impede the flow of water. So this is what has been causing the flash floods that we are experiencing. But in a matter of hours, the water levels recede and then life gets to normal. Whilst NADMO officers continue with assessment to determine the losses and then see what remedial measures to put in place.
Right. Now, with that being said, what immediate safety instructions would you share that residents within these flood-prone areas should follow in order to protect themselves as well as their families?
What we are saying, and we say it always, is that people should listen to weather information on our networks. These days, every station broadcasts weather warnings. People should pay attention and heed weather warnings and abide. We are also asking that people who live in flood-prone areas should go to the nearest NADMO office in their communities to identify the safe areas in their communities so that when we have heavy rainfalls, they will take shelter in those safe areas. We also say that people should have the national emergency hotline at their fingertips so that when they are distressed, they quickly call 112 and then rescuers or emergency service workers will come to their aid. We are also advising citizens not to cross floodwaters, swim floodwaters, or attempt to use floodwaters for anything because they are usually contaminated. And so once you walk through them, you swim, you get contaminated. Sometimes there are reptiles or sharp objects in them, and then there could be injuries, and sometimes it could be fatal. We are also advising parents not to leave their children outside when the weather doesn't look good. They should make sure that they have their kids with them in the rooms and then they monitor the movement. So kids can't just play, then they escape into the rains and then something fatal could happen. So we are advising parents to keep a close eye. And we are in the rainy season. People should pay attention to weather information.
Very well. Now, finally, is that to say that the emergency centers that are shelters that have been made available are the NADMO offices in these communities, or are there specific emergency shelters?
There are places that have been designated as shelters. So when you visit the nearest NADMO office, we have NADMO in every district and every community, every electoral area. So you visit the nearest NADMO office and then you'll be made aware of where the safe shelter is in your community. So that if you are in a flood-prone area and the weather doesn't look too good, you can move there to be protected.
Thank you for your time this evening. Amo Yate joining us there, Director Inspectorate for NADMO on that issue. It's still live here on News Tonight on GH1 TV. The Minister for Roads and Highways and Member of Parliament for Adaklu, Kwame Govins Agboja, has cautioned residents living around the Adaklu mountain to desist from farming activities on the slopes. He believes human activities, particularly deforestation, contributed to the devastating mudslide that hit the area on Wednesday. Speaking during a visit to the affected community alongside the Volta Regional Minister, Mr. Agboja urged residents to protect the environment to prevent further disasters.
My people are injured at the hospital, but they are not serious injuries, and I'll be visiting them from here to wish them a speedy recovery. If you recall, this is the second time in a few years that this has happened. On both occasions, it's happened in the night. If it were to happen during the day, when my people are on the mountain for farming and other things, it would have been a different story. I am not sure whether we'll be lucky for the third time. So my suggestion to the elders is to find a way of, let's have a dialogue as to whether we want to continue cultivating our crops around the mountain. Adaklu is blessed with so much landmass that you don't necessarily need to crop around the mountain. Rather, let's see whether we can restore the ecology around the mountain and use it for other profitable things like tourism and others. We've had people talking to us about all the potentials, but we keep cropping, cutting down the trees, burning the bush around it. Of course, the trees and the bushes were holding the mud and the soil. Once you remove them, the soil is loose. So I don't have the power to decree that nobody should crop around the mountain. It is something that together with the elders we can discuss. So that is the way forward. I also want to thank the young people in the community who, without their swift intervention, those two lives would have been in a real peril. And we want to thank them for their swift action. In fact, before fire service and NADMO, everybody turned up, the young people in the
So live here on News Tonight on GH1 TV with me, Natalie Fort. Do stay with us. We bring you more news shortly. Welcome back to News Tonight here on GH1 TV. The opposition New Patriotic Party's MPP, that's the move to secure the removal of a Denta Circuit Court Judge, His Honour Justice Joseph Yenuban Kunsong, has suffered a setback. This follows an unsuccessful attempt by the party to formally present a petition to the Chief Justice at the Supreme Court. In its petition, the NPP accuses the judge of gross abuse of judicial power, insisting he is unfit to remain in office. The party is demanding his removal of what it describes as judicial misconduct in ongoing proceedings. General Secretary of the NPP, Justin Frimpong Kodia, has been speaking to the media after the unsuccessful petition attempt earlier today. we do apologize. We'll bring you that sound of Justin Frimpong Kodia there engaging with the media right here on GH1 TV subsequently. But let's stay on this as we're joined via phone by a member of the MPP's legal team, Enoch Afuakwa. He joins me now for more. Good evening to you, sir, and thank you for joining here on News Tonight. First of all, run us through specifically what led to this postponement of the petition to the Chief Justice earlier today.
Yeah, so a very good evening to your cherished viewers on GH1 TV. Yes, today we were able to submit our petition to the Honorable Chief Justice, His Lordship Justice Paul Bafuboni. Unfortunately, the arrangement did not go through as expected, that we've been asked to come the following week where His Lordship will be available to receive our petition and to know the contents of same, to be able to act in accordance with our petition. So certainly, that is the outcome of what happened, what transpired today.
Right. Now, just to provide some further context, when you mentioned that the arrangement didn't go as planned, was it just a scheduling issue? Specifically, what was the difficulty in the arrangement that led to the postponement?
Yeah, so you are well aware that the judiciary is part of the three arms of government that we have in this country. And as custom demands, if you want to visit His Lordship, the Chief Justice, who is the head of the judiciary, you must send a notification in advance, of which we did. But due to our administrative bureaucracies, we are told that the timing and all the rest, His Lordship wouldn't be available to receive our petition, and that we should rearrange so that His Lordship will get to meet us and to receive our petition. So we have arranged to have that done next week, God willing, next week.
Right, very well. So there wasn't ample time as per what was communicated to you in terms of when it was presented. Now, some critics argue, just with regards to this entire issue, and specifically the engagement of the diplomatic community on this specific matter, that it was unnecessary, or it was done too quickly, the involvement of the diplomatic community by the MPP. What's your take on this?
Yeah, so it was a necessary undertaking for us to do as a political party, because Ghana as a country belongs to the Committee of Nations. And as such, once we have diplomatic relations with other nations in our country and things are going wayward, we need to draw the attention of the diplomatic community to say, this is not the first time that a political party in Ghana has presented a petition to the diplomatic community on some occurrences within the state of which they are not comfortable with. If you remember, sometime within the administration of His Excellency Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, the NDC, then in opposition, petitioned the diplomatic community on matters that they feel that they need to escalate him to the doorstep of the community, to draw the attention of the world community, to ensure that the managers of the Ghanaian state pay attention to it. Similarly, once the diplomatic community are part of us, once we have diplomatic relations with them, we are of the view that it is fair in our right to draw the attention of the diplomatic community to the breach of the human rights of some persons within the Ghanaian community and the targeting of political opponents in Ghana with the weaponization of the state security against free speech in Ghana, especially targeting opposition elements. That is a cause of worry that we need to draw the attention of the diplomatic community. That there is something that is going on wrongly in our country that needs attention, and that is what exactly that we did. You are aware of what is happening in this country, the honorable bail conditions, the arrest of persons perceived to be NPP activists who either to make few comments on social media, express their views on social accountability. A person writes Dunso is back, of which it is notorious that Dunso is exactly back. It's entirely back, and yet the person gets arrested by state security in a Rambo style. His whereabouts is unknown to his family, his lawyers, and to the political party that he belongs to, and that the identities of the persons that effected the arrest were not made known to the people around to even establish that these are real persons coming from state security agencies, of which they will be comfortable that once the person has been picked, the person is in good hands. Anything can happen to anybody in this country. And with these occurrences, we need to escalate that to the doorstep of the diplomatic community for some engagements to be done with the leadership of the Ghanaian community. We have made several calls at the doorstep of the managers of the Ghanaian economy, but they have turned blind eye to it. So it was time for us to draw the attention of the diplomatic community to come into the matters and to draw the attention of the managers of the Ghanaian economy to the flagrant breach of the human rights of the people of this country as is currently going on.
Would like to thank you for your time this evening. Enoch Afuakwa there, a member of the MPP's legal team, will certainly engage subsequently as this develops. You're still live here on News Tonight on GH1 TV. A Ghanaian citizen, Sophia Koko, has filed a suit at the Supreme Court against the Attorney General, challenging the constitutionality of bail conditions imposed by police and other security agencies during investigations. She is seeking a declaration that the practice is unconstitutional and in order to stop security agencies from setting bail conditions without court involvement for suspects, persons of interest or witnesses. The writ filed on May 20, 2026 through Robert Smith Law Group, led by Bobby Banson Esquire, invokes the Supreme Court's original jurisdiction under Articles 2, Section 1 and 130, Section 1 of the Constitution. Now, in her suit, the plaintiff is seeking 10 reliefs, including 7 declaratory orders and 3 injunctions, arguing that the facts of the case are not in dispute and therefore no witness testimony will be required. Bring you more issues related to the courts subsequently. Let's turn to some other news this evening. Ghana's growing success in robotics and STEM innovation is drawing international attention following a major victory by a young Ghanaian team at the RoboFest World Championship in the US. The achievement is renewing calls for stronger investment in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics to prepare young people for a technology-driven future. At a reception across, students, trainers, and stakeholders celebrated the team's success while urging greater collaboration to expand STEM opportunities.
Excitement filled the arrival hall as Ghana's young robotics champion returned home after winning the junior game category at the RoboFest World Championship held at Lawrence Technological University in the United States. The team was welcomed by officials of Brownstone construction firm, parents and supporters during a brief ceremony in Accra. Speaking to GH1 TV, representatives of Microbot Robotics encouraged students not to see robotics and STEM education as difficult, but to develop interest in the learning process and enjoy the experience.
I feel very happy knowing that we worked for months on our project. I feel happy that we won first place, and it was a really fun and exciting experience.
Trainer of Microbot Robotics says the achievement highlights the potential of Ghanaian students when given the right support, mentorship, and resources.
Our agenda is to get these young ones to fit into the fourth industrial revolution workforce. So what is next for us is we are pipelining these young ones through our senior high school clubs all the way to the university clubs, and we are looking at having them pick up jobs related to engineering STEM fields. And we are thankful to companies that have already started showing interest, especially Brownstone Construction Limited, that has showed interest in these young ones and is already engaging some of them.
Officials of Brownstone Construction firm also stressed the need for stronger partnerships between the private sector and educational institutions to expand STEM opportunities for young people.
Brownstone supported the MIC Robot team, and we're so proud of all the work that they have done. I see STEM education reaching great heights, especially in Africa. There's so many brilliant and talented kids. Unfortunately, sometimes due to lack of resource, they're not able to be on the floor front. So now with this opportunity, I'm hoping that more companies engage in this type of activity and more kids are supported. So I see it reaching great heights.
The achievement is adding to growing calls for increased investment in science and technology education as Ghana prepares for a more digital and innovation-driven future.
On to healthcare issues now. The public has been urged to prioritize health screening for early detection of diseases and infections in order to swiftly tackle the rise of communicable diseases in Ghana. Speaking during the Quantum LC Limited's free health screening exercise for residents of Achimota, Director of the National Cardiothoracic Center at Kolebu, Dr. Ko Insua Mensah, noted that routine checkup is key to identifying early stages of diseases and curbing them.
Founded in 2012, Quantum LC Limited is a Ghanaian company that acts as a key support service provider for major mining operations across the country. The company, in partnership with the National Cardiothoracic Center, Kolebu, organized a free health screening at the forecourt of the company in Achimota. Blood sugar test, prostate screening, blood pressure check, and medication counseling, among others, were the services available at the center. Speaking at the exercise, Director of National Cardiothoracic Center at Kolebu urged individuals to prioritize health screening for early detection.
In kidney diseases, cardiovascular diseases, and all that, they are called non-communicable diseases. They are on the rise. Despite all the prevention and all that, we must also check because the prevention is not absolute. They really help. They really do help. But some people, for one or two reasons, sometimes even conditioned around within a family.
The CEO for Quantum LC Limited, Joseph Titus Glover, said that this initiative forms part of the company's corporate social responsibility and a way to also ensure employees' well-being in order to positively impact work output.
We are in partnership with the National Cardio Center, Kolebu, and we do work together in a way. We do other stuff. We have an orphanage, and then apart from the medical field, we support the law enforcement by buying vehicles for them for the operations in Obuasi. We would like to not only give back as giving back, but want to impact positively on mankind.
Some of the beneficiaries expressed appreciation to Quantum LC Limited and expressed how this would positively impact their well-being.
I do really appreciate it. They are really living their CSIR, and not many people are able to go to the hospital for these checkups. So bringing it to our doorsteps, I mean, it helps.
They are doing a very great thing, a wonderful thing, and it's my wish that God will bless them.
The initiative by the company goes beyond screening. Individuals suffering from serious health conditions are supported in seeking intensive medical.
Watching News Tonight here on GH1 TV, we bring you business news next.
The Business Brief is brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
In business this evening, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, have both expressed deep satisfaction with the unprecedented achievements of the African Continental Free Trade Area within the short period since its inception. The global and regional bodies opined that the impressive milestones demonstrate AFTA's capacity and capability to deliver on its mandate for the African people. The remarks were made during the closing of the Biashara Africa 2026, a flagship business forum convened by the AFCFTA in Lomé. Calvin Powell has more.
To date, 50 out of 55 countries have ratified the framework of the African Continental Free Trade Area on intra-African trade, with 26 effectively trading among themselves under the AFTA Agreement's Rules of Origin Protocol. This protocol guarantees duty-free or preferential tariff treatments for goods genuinely originating from African Union member countries. In an interview with GH1 TV, the Director of Trade at ECOWAS, Kolawole Shofola, indicated that impressive strides are being made by the AfTA.
At the heart of our economic integration is the promotion of trade. ECOWAS has been established for over 50 years now, and we've operationalized our own free trade area. With the onset of the AFCFTA, we're able to take the lessons learned from a regional level to take it to the continental level. We are still in the beginning periods, but we can already see trade happening across the various regional economic communities. Businesses in West Africa trading with those in East Africa and Southern Africa. So this is already the beginning of a very promising interconnecting of regional economic communities.
For his part, the regional advisor and project manager of the United Nations Development Programme to the African Continental Free Trade Area, Komi Chowo, elaborated on UNDP's role in facilitating trade convergence and alignment to bridge existing gaps and accelerate intra-African trade.
AFCFTA secretariats and a number of countries within ECOWAS region to first strengthen policy making process, aligning the AFCFTA provision to some of those existing at the regional level, also making sure countries are implementing the FCFTA in an integrated manner while accounting for the ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme.
Bishara Africa 2026 was held under the theme Powering Africa's Economic Transformation Through the AfTA. Calvin Powell's reports for GH1 TV and Star FM.
In more business news, the Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, Samuel Nate George, says Africa must take charge of shaping its digital future through innovation, inclusion and trust. Speaking at the launch of Ghana's preparations to host the 15th Africa Internet Governance Forum in Accra, the minister stressed the need for African countries to unite and strengthen their voice in global digital governance discussion.
Africa's digital transformation will depend on deeper regional collaborations, stronger institutions, and genuine multi-stakeholder partnerships. It will also require placing young people and women at the center of Africa's digital future and digital governance. It brings together governments, parliamentarians, regional institutions, civil society, academia, the technical community, the private sector, youth and development partners, all as equal stakeholders, united by a shared commitment to building an inclusive, secure, and trusted digital future for the continent.
Points Africa Ghana, in partnership with the Malcolm Group, has launched a new rewards application designed to allow customers to shop, earn points and redeem them for airtime and other lifestyle benefits. The initiative is aimed at rewarding loyal shoppers for their everyday spending while enhancing customer convenience and engagement.
Speaking at the launch, Chief Executive Officer of Points Africa, Andrew Mike Bennett, says the initiative is aimed at rewarding loyal shoppers for their everyday spending while enhancing customer convenience and engagement. According to him, the app forms part of efforts to promote digital loyal solutions and encourage more value-driven shopping experience for customers across the country.
Today we're launching with Malcolm, fantastic partnership that increases the spending power of everyday Ghanaians. Not only can you get discounts that you used to get at Malcolm where you shop with your 5 or 10%, but you're also now able to get points. And Points Africa basically extends your spending power. Now you can get value for every CD that you spend.
Ghanaian actor and brand ambassador for Points Africa, Van Vicker, demonstrated how customers can easily download the app, accumulate points and redeem their rewards.
Once the consumers know that every time they shop, they get reward, they keep coming back for more. So they shop more, they get more points, and they can use those points to get reward. So it's quite simple. make sure you download the app. Once you download the app, when you go shop at Melcom or at Points Africa Network Partners, which includes companies that deal with fuel, data, and other lifestyle experiences, you get points every time you shop. You get those points almost immediately. And once you get those points, next time round, you can use those points to reduce your expenses.
The launch attracted shoppers, media representatives, and invited guests who witnessed the unveiling of the new digital rewards platform.
That's all the business news we've got for you this evening on News Tonight. Do stay with us. Sports news comes up shortly.
The Business Brief was brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
In sports news tonight, Director General of the National Sports Authority, Yao Ampofo-Ankra, has insisted that the recent African Athletics Championship held at the University of Ghana Stadium could have been managed better, regardless of all the problems faced. The experienced broadcaster, who was speaking on Star Chat with Bulla Ray, says that there were many challenges that affected the perfect organization of the competition.
And we can do better. I'll be kind and add 8 out of 10.
Oh, 8 out of 10?
Yes.
That is above average.
Yes, considering the challenges that nobody knew about, the challenges that were not aired, and the difficulties that were behind the scenes that nobody wants to know and nobody talks about. Yeah, I would be
8
kind.
out of 10.
I'll be kind.
That's very good.
If I were to be mean, I might
not excellent though.
Yeah, we can do better. We can do better. If it's good, if it's good as 7, then it was good. Very good. No, we can do better.
Okay,
we can do better. Okay. So that one, we shouldn't make excuses when you realize that it wasn't good enough. You need to admit that, Charlie. That we could have done better. Yeah.
Okay.
And
meanwhile, Yao Ampofo-Ankra believes that there was so much reportage on the little negatives that surfaced from the championship, with the media and the public ignoring the many positives from the championship.
Food, there was accommodation, there was everything.
Issues.
I think it's about communication, expectations, and timing.
Okay.
So certain things happened at a certain time, it was picked up. And other things that were happening, far more important, better, good, were put to the side. And maybe if one person, two people say, I wanted extra chicken, I didn't get it. And you have
that was highlighted.
Yes, and you have 400 people or 500 and they are okay. You're like, I mean, how do you balance? But that one person or two people is news. You see, I keep saying that because the ecosystem, we're all responsible. And we had a very experienced Bawa Fuseni, Ghana Athletics president. He was in charge during the African Games. So that experience was brought on to lead, to continue. The LOC, my deputy Veronica Kome was there. Good team, strong team. They did their best in every tournament, even the World Cup, even the Champions League, Olympic Games, Commonwealth Games.
There are issues, eh?
There are issues, but it's how they're handled and how it's highlighted. But because in Ghana, it sounds nice. Even chicken, they know if you give them extra chicken, it sounds like crazy. But this is one person.
Well, away from that, goalkeepers coach of Accra Hearts of Oak, Najahu Issa, insists that the absence of both Benjamin Asari and Solomon Agbasi won't affect the performance of Hearts of Oak. Both goalkeepers are in camp in Mexico as the Black Stars face the Mexican team tomorrow morning at 2 a.m. in an international friendly that Najahu believes that Solomon Agbasi can also make the final Black Stars squad.
We have Benjamin, we have Solomon, we have Sharif Sohaib, and then we have Stephen Otopa. Once the two is not there, the other two automatically become our number one and then our number two. Yeah. So we still have Sharif, we still have Stephen Otopa. We are not bothered at all. I tell you, we are all in the same level in terms of work rate. So we are not worried about their absence. Yeah. Every blessed day we talk about their training regimens, how the training is going, how are they feeling after every session, and then how are they feeling being there maybe without you, and then the link up with the new environment where Gaspar and then his people are also taking it's a different environment and it will be a different feeling. But I think they are very, very okay. They are much okay because they are all experienced and they know exactly what they are doing. I don't have any doubt in my mind that Sulu is up to the level and is up to the standards. Sulu making the final list, I won't be surprised.
That's all the sports news this evening. International news comes up next. Seeking to adjust their immigration status in the United States to secure green cards will have to do so from outside the country via the State's Department, the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services said on Friday. In a move criticized by aid groups, USCIS announced the move in a policy memo which directed officers to consider relevant factors and information on a case-by-case basis when determining whether extraordinary relief is warranted. The USCIS says the new policy will free up agency resources to focus on processing other cases. HICE, an aid group that provides services for refugees among other groups of immigrants, said the USCIS was forcing survivors of trafficking and abused and neglected children to return to the dangerous countries they fled in order to process their applications for green cards, granting them a permanent residency in the U.S. The policy change is the latest in a series of steps taken by U.S. President Donald Trump over the last year to tighten migration in the United States of America. And on that note, we wrap up News Tonight this evening here on GH1 TV. Do visit our websites at starfm.com.gh for lots more local and international stories. It was produced by Emmanuel Ejabing and Stella Butchway and directed by Emmanuel Soa. I'm Natalie Force. Have a good evening.